Following his defeat at the hands of Thor, Loki was sent back to Asgard where he was punished by Odin, who decreed that Loki would never be allowed to leave Asgard again. Still wishing to gain revenge on his cursed half-brother, Loki casts a spell to spy on Thor, and witnesses the Thunder God's previous adventure where he saved 5 American scientists from Russian captivity. Loki witnesses Thor changing into Donald Blake, and now having learned his foe's mortal guise has come up with an idea to defeat Thor once and for all. In order to sneak out of Asgard, Loki transforms himself into a snake and slips past Heimdall and crosses the Bifrost Bridge to Earth. Taking on a human guise of an old man, Loki enters Donald Blake's office and hypnotizes Jane Foster and gives her secret commands and then enters Donald's office. When Donald reports for work, he finds Loki waiting for him and changes into Thor. Loki proposes the Thunder God a challenge in Central Park, a challenge that Thor accepts before Loki leaves. Changing back into Donald Blake, he tells Jane that he is leaving for the afternoon, unaware that Jane is about to enact Loki's hypnotic suggestions upon his departure. Arriving at Central Park as Thor, he begins to battle Loki, unaware that Jane Foster, still under Loki's thrall, is wandering in the area. Loki then transforms a tree into a tiger and sets it upon Jane, and turns the Thunder God's attention to Jane's situation. Thor has 2 options: grab his returning hammer, or save Jane. With no choice, Thor chooses the latter, and after dealing with the mystical tiger he reverts back into Donald Blake because he has been away from his hammer for more than 60 seconds. When Donald attempts to recover his weapon, Loki puts a magical force field around it, preventing Blake from changing back into Thor. With his enemy apparently defeated, Loki transforms into a bird and flies away, planning to conquer the Earth. Blake revives Jane and takes her back home while Loki uses his magics to terrorize the people of New York City, and make the counter-attacking army's weapons useless. As this is happening, Blake comes up with a means of tricking Loki so that he can get his hammer back. Planting a story in the papers stating that Thor promises to defeat Loki by the end of the week prompts the god of mischief to check and see if Thor found a means to recover his hammer. To his surprise, he finds Thor, with hammer in hand, waiting for him at the location of the force field. Unable to see within the force field, the unbelieving Loki removes it to see if the hammer is truly gone. Suddenly, Donald Blake bursts out of the bushes and grabs the real hammer which was there all along. Changing back into Thor, he explains that he tricked Loki with nothing but a mannequin. Loki attempts to escape by changing into a pigeon and hiding amongst a whole flock. However, with a bag of peanuts, Thor manages to cause all the real birds to break Loki's cover. Trying to escape, Loki meets a humiliating defeat when Thor uses a tennis net to ensnare the escaping villain, forcing Loki to revert back to his human form and return him to Asgard for punishment.